No, we were kind of puzzled when both sides of the family were kept away from the royal wedding, and we started wondering, what's up with this? Like, why? And we started to realize, aha, when you have a wedding and people start drinking champagne at the reception, they start talking.
Right.
So what could the motive be for keeping both sides of the family away?
That's right.
Meghan Markle's darkest secret just got exposed, and it's worse than anyone imagined. Samantha Markle is ready to blow the lid off everything with shocking evidence about frozen eggs, impossible hospital timelines, and a cover-up that goes straight to the throne.
The stories would come out. So apparently, according to other journalists, we found out that there were a lot of porky pies probably told to the royals and even to Harry when they met her, and in order to cover up.
What really happened the day Archie was born? Why won't Meghan answer one simple question? Palace insiders are panicking. Harry is reportedly blindsided, and 2 children could lose their royal titles forever. The story of Meghan Markle's pregnancies has become one of the most debated topics in recent royal history. What started as whispers and speculation has grown into a full-scale controversy, with family members, royal commentators, and medical professionals all questioning the official narrative. At the center of it all is a claim that nobody expected. Samantha Markle, Meghan's half-sister, has stepped forward with allegations that the pregnancy timeline simply doesn't add up. This isn't just family drama or tabloid gossip anymore. According to Samantha, she has information directly from their father, Thomas Markle, that raises serious questions about how Archie and Lilibet came into the world. The controversy really picked up steam when people started examining the details Prince Harry shared in his memoir, Spare. The book was meant to be an honest, raw account of his life behind palace walls. Harry opened up about his struggles, his relationship with Meghan, and intimate details about their journey to parenthood. But buried within those pages was one detail that caught the attention of anyone familiar with how childbirth actually works. According to Harry's account, Meghan gave birth at Portland Hospital in London, and they were back home at Frogmore Cottage within 2 hours of the birth. On the surface, that might sound impressively efficient. A quick, smooth delivery, followed by a prompt return home to start their new life as parents. But to medical professionals and anyone who has experienced childbirth firsthand, that timeline raises immediate red flags. Let's break down what would have needed to happen in those 2 hours. Portland Hospital is located in central London, while Frogmore Cottage sits on the grounds of Windsor Castle. Even under perfect traffic conditions, that's roughly an hour's drive. So if we're working backward from the claim that they were home 2 hours after birth, we're left with just 60 minutes for everything else. In that single hour, according to the official story, Meghan would have given birth, gone through the entire recovery process that hospitals require before discharge, been monitored by medical staff to ensure both she and the baby were stable, had the baby examined and cleared by pediatric staff, completed all the necessary discharge paperwork, packed their belongings, coordinated with security teams, and been ready to leave. Medical experts have pointed out that this sequence of events doesn't align with standard hospital protocols, especially for a first-time mother. Hospitals, particularly ones as prestigious as Portland, have mandatory observation periods after delivery. These aren't optional guidelines that can be waived for VIP patients. They exist for safety reasons, to catch any complications that might arise in those crucial first hours after birth. The standard procedure after delivery involves monitoring the mother for bleeding, checking vital signs, ensuring the baby is feeding properly, and completing a series of health checks that simply cannot be rushed. Even in the most straightforward, complication-free births, hospitals typically require at least a few hours of observation before discharge. For a first-time mother, this period is often longer. The idea that all of this could be completed, along with the administrative work of processing a discharge and the logistical work of preparing for departure, in less than 60 minutes has struck many observers as not just unlikely, but potentially impossible. What makes this timeline even more puzzling is that it suggests either the birth didn't happen at Portland Hospital in the way described, or something significant has been left out of the official account. Some have wondered whether Meghan was already at the hospital for hours before the birth was announced, which would give more time for the necessary procedures. But that theory creates its own problems, because it would mean the timeline presented to the public was deliberately misleading. Others have suggested that perhaps the birth happened elsewhere entirely. and Portland Hospital was named after the fact for privacy or security reasons. But again, that would represent a significant departure from the truth as it was presented. The confusion deepens when you look at how this birth was announced and documented compared to other recent royal births. The British royal family has centuries of established protocol when it comes to births in the line of succession. These protocols exist for very specific reasons. They ensure that there's never any question about the legitimacy of a child's claim to royal status and position in the succession line. Before Archie's arrival, every significant royal birth in modern times followed the same clear pattern. When a royal baby is on the way, the Queen must be notified immediately when labour begins. This isn't just a courtesy or a tradition that can be skipped if the parents want more privacy. It's a mandatory procedure for any child who will be in the line of succession. The reason for this is simple. The monarch needs to be kept informed about matters that affect the succession to the throne. Alongside the notification to the Queen, the press is informed through official channels at specific stages of the labour and delivery. Medical staff follow documented protocols, and witnesses are present in ways that have been standardised over generations. The paperwork is filed precisely according to royal standards that have existed for decades. But according to multiple sources familiar with the events of May 2019, something unprecedented happened with Archie's birth. Reports emerged claiming that Queen Elizabeth was not properly notified when Meghan went into labour. Instead of following the established channels, the palace and the press allegedly received conflicting information about where Meghan was, when labour began, and when the baby was actually born. There were no official witnesses present in the traditional sense, no doctors or medical staff confirmed publicly, and no clear documentation trail that matched how royal births had been handled in the past. Perhaps most tellingly, Archie's birth certificate was amended 11 days after his birth. The change involved Meghan's name on the document, updating it from her given names to her royal title, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. While officials later claimed this was a minor administrative correction, the timing struck many observers as unusual. Birth certificates for royal children are typically prepared with meticulous attention to detail before being filed. The need to amend one nearly 2 weeks after the birth suggested either a significant oversight in the original filing or something more complicated about how the birth was documented in the first place. To understand why this matters, it helps to compare Archie's arrival with other recent royal births. When Catherine, Princess of Wales, gave birth to each of her 3 children, everything followed protocol perfectly. Cameras were positioned outside the hospital, official announcements were made at predetermined times, witnesses were present in accordance with tradition, and paperwork was filed correctly from day one. The public knew where she was, when she went into labour, and when each baby was born. There was never any confusion, never any amendments to birth certificates, never any questions about whether protocol had been followed properly. The difference isn't about personal preference or a desire for more privacy. Royal protocol around births exists specifically because children in the succession line require documentation that can never be questioned. When future heirs to the throne are born, there cannot be any ambiguity about the circumstances of their birth. This is why the protocols are so rigid, why they've remained largely unchanged for so long, and why breaking them raises such serious questions. So when Meghan's experience allegedly broke every established rule, when the timeline didn't make medical sense, when the Queen reportedly wasn't informed in the proper manner, and when certificates needed correcting after the fact, people who follow royal procedures closely couldn't help but wonder why. The answer to that question, they argue, matters for something far more important than personal privacy or modern parenting choices. It matters for the legitimacy and integrity of the royal line of succession itself. If the timeline inconsistencies and protocol violations raised eyebrows among royal watchers, the public statements from Samantha Markle took the controversy to an entirely different level. Samantha didn't just hint at problems or express vague suspicions about her half-sister's pregnancies. She came forward with specific allegations, claiming to have direct information from their father, Thomas Markle, that fundamentally challenges the official story of how Archie came into the world. In conversations with journalist Dan Wooten and other media figures, Samantha made a claim that sent shockwaves through royal commentary circles. According to her account, Thomas Markle told her that 9 months before Archie was born, Meghan retrieved frozen eggs that she had previously stored. The timing of this alleged retrieval is what makes the claim so significant. 9 months before Archie's birth, would place this event at almost exactly the point when a surrogate pregnancy would need to begin if the baby was to be born when Archie arrived. Samantha's exact words, as reported in various media outlets, were direct and unambiguous. She stated that her father had informed her about Meghan picking up frozen eggs 9 months prior to Archie's alleged birth, and that upon hearing this information, she immediately thought it made sense that a surrogate would be involved in the pregnancy. This wasn't speculation based on watching Meghan from afar or analysing photographs. This was allegedly information that came directly from Meghan's own father, someone who would have been in contact with her during the early stages of the pregnancy timeline. The implications of this claim are substantial. If Thomas Markle did indeed have knowledge about frozen eggs being retrieved at that specific time, it would suggest he had information indicating Meghan was planning something other than a natural pregnancy. The timing is too precise to be coincidental. Frozen eggs aren't typically retrieved on a whim or for unclear purposes. When someone goes through the process of collecting previously stored eggs, it's generally because they're ready to use them for a specific purpose, whether that's in vitro fertilization for themselves or providing the eggs for a surrogate to carry. Samantha went further than simply sharing what she claimed her father told her. She made a direct demand that if Meghan and Harry had used a surrogate to have their children, they should simply admit it publicly, rather than maintaining a level of secrecy that only fuels more suspicion. On its face, this seems like a reasonable request. After all, many public figures have been open about using surrogates or other assisted reproductive technologies. There's no inherent shame in choosing surrogacy, and in modern times, it's become an accepted path to parenthood for people who cannot or choose not to carry pregnancies themselves. But Samantha also pointed out exactly why such an admission would be deeply problematic for Meghan and Harry, particularly given their children's positions in the royal line of succession. According to established royal succession law, an heir must be born from a titled royal mother. This isn't a matter of opinion or modern interpretation. It's how the laws governing succession have been understood and applied for generations. If a child is born via surrogate with another woman carrying and delivering the baby, that child would not meet the traditional requirements for inclusion in the line of succession, regardless of whose genetic material was used. This legal reality creates an enormous incentive for secrecy if surrogacy was indeed used. If Meghan were to admit that Archie and Lilibet were born via surrogate, it would potentially trigger a process that could see both children removed from the line of succession. They would lose their prince and princess titles, their royal status, and their place in the official order of succession to the British throne. Everything that Meghan and Harry have built for their children in terms of royal identity and status would potentially disappear the moment that truth became public. Samantha's point was clear. The couple could easily end all speculation by simply stating that no surrogate was used. A straightforward denial would be the end of it, assuming it was truthful. The fact that such a denial has never been issued in clear, unambiguous terms is what Samantha and others find suspicious. Instead of addressing the rumours directly, Meghan and Harry have maintained silence on the specific question of whether the pregnancies were carried by Meghan herself or by a surrogate. Just as Samantha's allegations were gaining traction online and in various media outlets, other members of the Markle family added their voices to the controversy. Thomas Markle Jr., Meghan's half-brother, took an even more dramatic approach to expressing his doubts about the pregnancies. According to multiple reports, Thomas Jr. created and posted a video on YouTube that openly mocked the idea that Meghan had carried her children herself. In the video, Thomas Jr. reportedly wore a wig and a tiara, clearly meant to represent Meghan in her royal role. He stuffed a pillow under his shirt to create the appearance of a pregnant belly, then addressed the camera with a statement dripping with sarcasm. He allegedly said that he was just showing off the new bump he had bought used on eBay, supposedly from Montecito, the California town where Meghan and Harry now live. The implication was unmistakable. Thomas Jr. was publicly accusing his half-sister of faking her pregnancies using prosthetic bellies. This wasn't subtle family criticism delivered through carefully worded statements to the press. This was a full-throated public mockery of Meghan's pregnancy claims, created and distributed in a format designed to go viral and reach as wide an audience as possible. Royal commentator Jenny Bond, who has covered the royal family for decades, called this kind of public attack by a family member the ultimate betrayal. Having your own flesh and blood lead such a visible assault on your credibility is devastating in ways that criticism from strangers or media commentators simply isn't. But what makes these family accusations particularly significant in the broader context of this controversy is the source. These aren't random internet conspiracy theorists who have never met Meghan and are simply analysing photos and timelines from afar. These are people who share her blood, who have known her at various points in her life, and who potentially have access to information that outsiders wouldn't have. They're people who would presumably understand the consequences of making such serious public accusations if those accusations were baseless. Thomas Markle Sr., according to Samantha's account, allegedly knew about the frozen eggs and their retrieval timeline. That's not information that would typically be public knowledge or something that could be guessed at from a distance. If he really did have this information, it suggests he was in communication with Meghan during a period when these reproductive decisions were being made. Samantha, in sharing what she claims her father told her, has connected those frozen eggs directly to a surrogacy timeline that would align with Archie's birth. Thomas Markle Jr., through his video, has made clear that he believes prosthetic bellies were used to fake the appearance of pregnancy. Again, this is a family member willing to put his face and name to an accusation that many would consider outlandish if they didn't believe it to be true. The question that observers keep coming back to is simple. What would make these family members so confident in their claims that they're willing to make them publicly, knowing the backlash and ridicule they might face if they're wrong? When your entire family, or at least multiple members of it, publicly question whether you actually gave birth to your children, it creates a situation that's difficult to dismiss as mere jealousy or attention-seeking. When these family members keep pushing for answers despite the potential for legal threats, public criticism, and damage to their own reputations, it suggests they believe they have information that justifies taking such a public stance. The Markle family's willingness to continue making these claims, even as Meghan and Harry have built new lives in California and largely cut off contact with Meghan's side of the family, indicates a level of conviction that goes beyond simple family discord. They're not just saying they don't get along with Meghan or that they feel excluded from her life. They're making specific, serious allegations about fraud and deception regarding the births of children who hold positions in the royal line of succession. Whether these allegations have merit is ultimately a question that would require evidence beyond family testimony. But the fact that multiple family members, independently and in different ways, have all arrived at the same conclusion that something about Meghan's pregnancies doesn't add up, that surrogacy was likely involved, and that the public has been misled about the true circumstances of how Archie and Lilibet came into the world, creates a picture that's increasingly difficult for casual observers to ignore. These aren't coordinated attacks from strangers with no stake in the truth. These are family members claiming insider knowledge and demanding transparency about matters they say they have reason to question. While family accusations and timeline questions created one layer of controversy, the medical inconsistencies in the official birth story added another dimension that proved even harder to explain away. When royal experts and medical professionals began carefully examining the details Harry provided in his memoir and comparing them with what actually happens during childbirth, significant problems emerged that went beyond family disputes or speculation. The confusion about where Archie was actually born represents one of the most puzzling aspects of the entire story. For months leading up to the birth in May 2019, media reports consistently stated that Meghan was planning a home birth at Frogmore Cottage. This wasn't treated as rumour or speculation. Multiple credible royal correspondents reported that Meghan wanted a natural, private experience away from hospital settings and the protocols that come with them. The home birth plan was discussed extensively in the press, with many outlets noting that it represented a departure from recent royal tradition, but was entirely within Meghan's rights as a modern mother making her own choices. Then, seemingly without warning or explanation, Archie was born at Portland Hospital in central London, nearly 20 miles from Frogmore Cottage. There was no announcement that plans had changed, no statement explaining why Meghan had decided against a home birth, and no clarification about when she went to the hospital or what prompted the change in location. The birth was simply announced as having taken place at Portland, and the public was expected to accept this shift without question. For anyone familiar with childbirth planning, this sudden change raises obvious questions. Women who plan home births typically do so after careful consideration and preparation. They arrange for midwives, set up their space, and mentally prepare for the experience they want to have. While it's certainly true that plans can change if complications arise or if a mother simply changes her mind, there's usually some acknowledgement of that change. The complete absence of any explanation for why Meghan went from planning a home birth to delivering at a hospital 20 miles away struck many observers as strange. One palace source speaking to media outlets posed the question quite directly. How many women plan a home birth, end up at a hospital 20 miles away, give birth there, and are back home? Within 2 hours? That sequence of events doesn't follow any standard pattern of how birth typically unfolds. If complications arose that required hospital intervention, the 2-hour turnaround becomes even less plausible because complicated births require more monitoring and recovery time, not less. If Meghan simply changed her mind and chose hospital birth for peace of mind or convenience, why wouldn't that be mentioned? The silence around this significant change in plans only deepened the mystery. Portland Hospital itself becomes a focal point when examining the medical plausibility of the official story. The hospital is well known among wealthy Londoners and international patients as an ultra-private, ultra-luxurious facility. Celebrities and high-profile individuals choose Portland specifically because it offers discretion and comfort that other hospitals may not provide. The facility has an excellent reputation and is staffed by experienced medical professionals who understand how to handle sensitive, high-profile births. But Portland Hospital is also known for following strict medical protocols, particularly when it comes to post-delivery care. These protocols aren't optional preferences that can be adjusted based on how famous the patient is or how much they value their privacy. They're safety standards that exist to protect both mothers and newborns during the vulnerable hours immediately following birth. New mothers don't simply walk out of any reputable hospital 2 hours after delivery. There are mandatory observation periods, health checks, and monitoring that must be completed before discharge can be approved. After delivery, hospitals monitor mothers for potential complications, including excessive bleeding, changes in blood pressure, and other issues that can arise in the immediate postpartum period. These checks happen at specific intervals and cannot be compressed into a few minutes just because someone wants to leave quickly. For the baby, there are equally important examinations that must be completed. Newborns are checked for proper breathing, feeding ability, temperature regulation, and overall health markers that help ensure they're stable enough to leave a medical setting. Beyond the medical monitoring, there's also paperwork that accompanies any hospital discharge. Birth certificates must be filed, medical records must be completed, discharge instructions must be provided and reviewed with the parents, and administrative processes must be followed. Even in the most efficient hospital settings, this takes time. The idea that all of these required procedures could be completed in the span of time suggested by Harry's account would mean hospital staff skipped mandatory steps, ignored established safety protocols, and rushed a discharge in ways that potentially violated their own standards of care. What makes this particularly significant is that if Meghan actually gave birth at Portland Hospital on the day claimed, there would necessarily be witnesses. Labour and delivery don't happen in isolation. There would be medical staff who saw Meghan in labour, nurses who assisted during delivery, a doctor who signed off on both the birth and the discharge, and security personnel who logged her arrival at and departure from the facility. In a normal birth at a hospital like Portland, all of these people would be part of a documented chain of events that could be verified. Yet none of these witnesses have ever been publicly confirmed. The doctor who allegedly delivered Archie was initially reported to be a physician named Dr. Penelope Law, but subsequent reports suggested confusion about who was actually involved in the delivery. For a royal birth that should have crystal clear documentation and a well-established record of who was present and what occurred, the fact that everything remains vague and unconfirmed is remarkable. This isn't a private citizen giving birth with no public interest in the details. This was the birth of a child who would be in the line of succession to the British throne, an event that by its very nature requires clear documentation. The physical evidence that emerged during both of Meghan's pregnancies added yet another layer to the controversy. Once people began carefully analysing photographs and videos of Meghan throughout the months she was supposedly pregnant, patterns emerged that struck many observers as inconsistent with normal pregnancy progression. Multiple images circulated online that appeared to show Meghan's baby bump looking dramatically different in size on the same day or within very short time periods. In some photos, the bump appeared quite large and prominent. In others taken around the same time, it looked noticeably smaller or shaped differently. Critics pointed to images where the bump seemed to sit at different heights on Meghan's body between appearances. In typical pregnancy progression, the position of a baby bump does change over time as the baby grows and drops lower in preparation for birth. But these changes happen gradually over weeks, not between morning and afternoon events on the same day. The variations that people claim to observe suggested something other than a natural pregnancy belly. Several videos that went viral showed moments where the bump appeared to move or shift in ways that observers claimed real pregnancy bellies don't behave. One particular video became the subject of intense debate online. It allegedly showed Meghan at a public event, wearing heels and a fitted dress, squatting down while greeting someone. As she moved into the squatting position, several people claimed the bump appeared to fold or collapse in the middle in a way that a pregnant belly filled with amniotic fluid and a baby simply couldn't do. Critics argued this was clear evidence of a prosthetic belly that bent with her body movement rather than maintaining the firm, rounded shape of an actual pregnancy. Supporters of Meghan countered that the video quality wasn't clear enough to make such determinations, that clothing and camera angles can create optical illusions, and that pregnant women's bodies can do unexpected things. But for those already suspicious of the pregnancy narrative, the video became a key piece of evidence that something wasn't right. In June 2025, Meghan herself attempted to address the ongoing surrogacy rumours by posting a video to Instagram. The footage showed her and Harry in what appeared to be a hospital room, with Meghan sporting a large baby bump while they danced together. The caption indicated this was from 4 years earlier, right before Lilibet's birth, and seemed designed to prove once and for all that Meghan had indeed been pregnant. Rather than settling the controversy, however, the video sparked even more debate. People who had been following the surrogacy theories immediately began analysing every frame of the video. Some claimed the bump looked positioned too high on Meghan's torso for someone at 9 months of pregnancy. Others said the shape was wrong, that it didn't match what a full-term pregnancy belly typically looks like. Medical professionals who were asked to comment on the video noted that they could see what appeared to be monitoring equipment under Meghan's clothing. They explained that this would be entirely normal and expected, as hospitals routinely monitor the baby's heart rate and the mother's contractions during late pregnancy and early labour. But conspiracy theorists insisted that the visible lumps under her clothes weren't medical monitors at all. They claimed these were attachment points for a prosthetic belly, evidence that even in this video meant to prove she was pregnant, Meghan was actually wearing a fake bump. The debate over what the video actually showed became just as contentious as the original surrogacy claims, with each side seeing in the footage confirmation of what they already believed. While the physical evidence and medical inconsistencies continued to fuel public debate, the legal and institutional implications of the surrogacy allegations began to take centre stage. No controversy threatens the British monarchy quite like questions surrounding succession. The entire foundation of the royal family rests on legitimacy, proper bloodlines, and unambiguous documentation of who holds rightful claims to titles and the throne itself. This is precisely why protocols exist in the first place, to prevent the kind of uncertainty that now surrounds Archie and Lilibet. Lady Colin Campbell, a royal author with decades of connections to palace insiders and deep knowledge of royal protocol, has been among the most vocal figures demanding a proper investigation into the circumstances of the children's births. Lady Campbell didn't mince words when addressing the situation. She reportedly stated that the whole situation reeks of impropriety and that Meghan has created circumstances that have led people to believe the children were born via surrogacy. Her solution was direct: clear it up once and for all. According to Lady Campbell, there should be absolutely no mystery surrounding who is legitimately in the line of succession. This isn't merely gossip or the opinion of someone with a personal vendetta. Lady Campbell speaks from a position of understanding how succession law works and why ambiguity in these matters represents a genuine institutional problem. The British line of succession isn't a casual ranking that can be adjusted based on modern sensibilities or personal preferences. It's governed by specific laws and precedents that have been established over centuries. When someone says there should be no mystery about succession, they're not being unreasonable or intrusive. They're articulating a fundamental requirement of how the monarchy functions. A senior palace courtier speaking to media on condition of anonymity allegedly expressed similar concerns in even starker terms. According to reports, this insider stated that the scandal comes as no surprise to those within palace walls. Speculation about the children has been simmering for years among people who work closely with the institution. The courtier pointed out that Archie and Lilibet currently hold the 6th and 7th positions in line to the throne, yet they have been shrouded in what was described as cloak and dagger secrecy since their births. There are numerous questions swirling around them, and according to this source, the crisis won't die down until irrefutable truth emerges. The significance of these palace insider comments cannot be overstated. These aren't outsiders throwing around conspiracy theories or family members with axes to grind. These are people who work within the institution itself, who understand royal protocol from the inside, and who are reportedly acknowledging that legitimate questions exist and require answers. They're not dismissing public concerns as crazy internet speculation. They're allegedly validating that the level of secrecy surrounding these children has created a problem that needs to be resolved. The legal stakes become clear when you examine what would happen if surrogacy were confirmed. According to centuries of established royal law and precedent, children born via surrogate do not qualify for inclusion in the line of succession in the traditional sense. The requirement has always been that an heir must be born from the body of a titled royal mother. This isn't about genetics or DNA, it's about the actual act of being carried and delivered by someone who holds royal status through marriage or birth. If it were proven that Archie and Lilibet were born via surrogate, with another woman carrying and delivering them, even if Meghan's eggs were used, those children would not meet the legal requirements for succession under traditional interpretation of the law. Their titles as prince and princess could be removed. Their positions as 6th and 7th in line to the throne could be eliminated. Their entire royal status and identity could disappear overnight. This represents an enormous incentive for maintaining secrecy if surrogacy was indeed used. The potential consequences aren't just about public embarrassment or admitting to misleading people. The consequences would fundamentally alter the status and future of Meghan's children. Everything she and Harry have built for Archie and Lilibet in terms of royal identity, the legacy they'll carry, and the position they hold within one of the world's most famous families could be stripped away. Understanding these stakes helps explain why the secrecy around the births has been so absolute. It clarifies why straightforward questions haven't received straightforward answers. It makes sense of why birth certificates were amended, why protocols were allegedly broken, why witnesses haven't been confirmed, and why every aspect of how these children came into the world remains wrapped in layers of privacy claims and security justifications. The pattern that emerges when all the pieces are assembled tells a troubling story. The timeline that medical professionals say doesn't work. The hospital visit that allegedly defies standard protocols. Family members claiming specific knowledge about frozen eggs and surrogacy plans. Physical evidence that conspiracy theorists insist proves prosthetic bellies were used. Amended birth certificates and lack of confirmed medical staff or witnesses. Palace insiders calling for investigation rather than dismissing concerns. Succession law that would strip titles if surrogacy is proven. And underlying all of it, a complete absence of irrefutable proof that Meghan actually carried and delivered these children herself. This isn't about invading privacy or attacking a mother's choices about how to have children. This is about two children whose place in the royal succession depends on answers that have never been clearly provided. As Samantha Markle continues pushing the claims she says came from their father about frozen eggs, as more people demand transparency, and as sources suggest that even Harry himself may be beginning to question aspects of what he was told, one truth becomes increasingly difficult to avoid. Something about the official pregnancy narrative does not align with documented facts, medical reality, royal protocol, or the information that family members claim to possess. The secrecy makes sense if there's something significant to hide. The defensive posture makes sense if surrogacy actually occurred, and admitting it would trigger devastating consequences. The timeline problems make sense if the births didn't happen in the manner the official story claims. When questions this seriously surround children in line to the British throne, silence stops being about protecting privacy and starts looking like something else entirely. The carefully constructed story of Meghan's pregnancies continues to unravel as more people examine the details and the truth that may have been hiding behind altered documents. Carefully edited photographs and legal threats is demanding to be acknowledged. No matter how long efforts continue to keep certain facts buried, the questions persist and the call for transparency grows louder.